Hello, everyone, and welcome to a joint What's in the Box, a resin review, a resin product testing. What should we call this, Scott? What do you think?
A 3D resin review.
There we go. 3D resin review. All right. So Funcrecol reached out to me and offered to send us a couple bottles of their standard resin and wanted us to tell them what we think about the resin. And I jumped at the opportunity. I want to thank Funcrecol for sending this to us. Again, we did not pay for any of this resin. We are our opinions are our own, and I'm sure they'll appreciate what we have to say. And I don't think we have much, there's a little criticisms, I think, but we'll get there. This is a pretty nice resin. Scott, what'd you think so far right off the bat when you first opened your bottle?
Well, first of all, I'll go back to when I first opened the box.
Okay. That's a better place to start, actually.
Okay. So when you first open the box, you get the little kit they give you a little tin of putty.
Yes.
Of their putty with a poop stick and a little thing of sandpaper. So you could try out their putty. Okay. Which I thought was really cool.
I did too. I was shocked. I did not expect it to be in there at all. And I was just as excited to test out that as I was the resin.
I'll tell you what else I thought was really cool. This.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I see you have the Spanish version. I have the
Well,
English.
I have the
I know. I'm just kidding. But I mean, I like that it compares all the resins and the properties.
So my only concern with this is, and I don't know what and we'll talk about it. Maybe we could kind of talk about it now, but it gives you right off the bat, and it gives you what they think the correct exposure settings would be. And it's nowhere near what I ended up using. Is my only concern. I like
Did you try theirs? I guess is my question.
I didn't.
Okay, and I didn't either. But we can get onto that.
Yeah, we'll get onto that. But I really like you said, all their different kinds of resin are in this pamphlet. They also, and we'll link down below to their Amazon shop is the best place to get their stuff. And it has you can get all of this there.
I also was impressed by I know it's going to sound stupid, but the bag that the bottle was in. Okay. Yes. Should that bottle have sprung a leak or anything like that, you weren't going to have anything but a bag full of mess. So, packaging overall, 5 stars.
Yeah, I agree completely. The bottle itself, I've seen bottles similar. There's another company uses, I think, the same bottle. It has some good warning labels on there. It tells you there's a lot of warning labels on there, which I didn't wear a mask. And I think that's where our big criticism might end up being. But what did you end up printing, Scott? What did you decide to print? What did you test?
So I wanted to test this against what I usually use, which is I usually use the Elegoo standard gray.
So that's their standard. Okay, gray. So that's your standard resin, which is, I think, probably more comparable to what this is compared to what I normally use, which is the Sunlu ABS which is really thick. It's like, the viscosity of it is almost like maple syrup at time. It is really thick, like really thick. Whereas your Elegoo is what?
So I would say my Elegoo compared to this was still, and that's first thing I noticed when I shook the bottle. Okay. Is I was like, man, this stuff sounds like water in there. Okay. I mean, it's thin. Okay. Yeah. Compared to the Elegoo I use, and I'm sure the Sunlu that you use as well.
Yeah.
So what I did is I have 2 Saturns, and I took a picture. You can insert it here to show you the difference in color. The Elegoo is kind of the brighter gray that you'll see on the right, and on the left is the Funcrecol, which is kind of, I'm going to call it a dirtier gray, just for a lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I put them both on my Saturn, and I use the same file with the same settings I use for my Elegoo resin.
Okay.
Okay. And I printed 2 of these, as we're all familiar with, mini Kongs.
Okay.
Okay. Now, one thing I noticed, still does too, is I thought this was a little smellier than the Elegoo resin.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it was compared to the Sunlu.
So that's, I think when we get through all this, I think when we give it a general grade, my biggest complaint would be the smell. I don't think it's overpowering terrible. It's not, I think any Cubics resin smells worse. Sunlu has changed something, I think, to where it's been smelling worse lately. And I was kind of hoping this one didn't smell as bad. But it is a noticeable smell. It's not, when I take the lid off that printer, there's a smell. And that's not going to be avoided on any of these resins. There's always going to be some sort of smell. But I was kind of hoping, I'm like, oh, please let it be the one that I'm going to end up using forever that doesn't stink. There's a stink. So it's not terrible by any means. Like, it's not unbearable.
It's like any other 3D resin so far that I've used. So it's nothing that I'm criticizing.
And I've been having a sensitivity maybe issue with some of it. I think it's getting worse. And especially in the winter now that everything's kind of locked down and can't open his windows as quickly as normal. There is a smell. But other than that, what'd you think with your other thing?
So I de-sprued both. Okay. And I know you mentioned you thought it maybe de-sprued a little easier than what you were used to. I would say, just judging by the marks in mine, and let me see, I'll see if you can tell the difference.
Let me go to full screen on you.
Okay, hold on.
Pop in, there we go.
See the difference.
Okay.
Or not, but okay, so there's the one. There's the marks on the bottom of the other one. I think they're comparable.
It's comparable. Yeah. Did you try? So I tested on the bottom, and what I printed, I did a couple things. I did a bunch of things, and I'm going to insert some video here as we go. But the one thing I did do was the new Killer Clown from Ina from Dyklick, and it turned out really nice. Like, I'm really impressed with the color, and I'm really impressed with the detail capturing. And on this itself, it's very hard for me to see. There are some like marks from there with a little bit of sanding is going to be needed to fix it. But all in all, it came off really easy.
And it looks like you have the same thing going on with that piece as I have this piece. It's kind of shiny.
It is kind of shiny. And there's a weird thing that happens with it. If you look at it in the right light, it almost looks silver. Like there's
maybe
like a metallic sheen to it in a weird way.
Now, one thing I noticed and a problem I was having with this file, so those upper teeth, okay, I had too heavy of a support on those, okay, and this is both of them, okay. So before I did this file, I changed it, all right, and I went with, I eliminated the support to the teeth, and I put a light support into those teeth, okay, and happily they both came up.
Yeah.
But when I looked at the supports on the Funcrecol actually looked a little thinner than the supports on the Elegoo.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that too. And here, let me get this. This is the full. I have the gloves off, and this turned out great. Again, I have other video I'm going to pop in, but let me go overhead cam and just kind of show everybody. Let's get the light in here. This is like, I love the way it captured the detail on this thing. It looks gorgeous. Looks really, really, really nice. And the hair, like, you can see, I got that. Oh, it's not going to zoom in, but I have it on the other camera.
It focused for a second.
It's really, really crisp. And I did these miniatures. I tested a whole bunch of miniatures too. And here's the one thing I really, really liked about it. And maybe you had the same thing. Did anything not stick to the build plate?
No, but I will say this. My Saturns, for the most part, everything sticks to the build
Yeah.
plate. So
I did, and normally I don't do pre-supported things. So, but this time I purposely went out of my way. I supported the killer clown from Ina over at Dyklik, but the rest of these miniatures. So I tested some miniatures from Bestiarum, which is this one and this little tiny. And the detail they popped in on these are amazing. And again, I'll have the videos kind of up as I'm going. I also did. It's an Ash Williams orc from Mr. Modulorc. And I'll put that up too while I'm talking. And I did some miniatures from Warp Miniatures, some orcs, some pig-faced orcs that are on there. And I did a 75 millimeter from Loot Studios. All right. And I did pre-supports on everything. Everything stuck. Everything printed perfectly. I have never had, and I don't know if it was just I picked the right files this time, but anytime I've done pre-supports before, something fails. This time, not one of those minis failed. Nothing failed.
And I don't know if you're going to be able to see. I look at this, and the detail's about the same on both.
All right. Yep.
I can't say my detail is any better on one or the other.
No.
Okay. Again, see the shine I have on this one? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's just shinier. Which leads me to the next thing. So I print these with, sorry, I'm kind of out of wampus here, with a hole there
and
a hole there. And that's so I can shine my UV light in there and cure the inside. And also I can make sure it gets drained and resin in there. Okay. So I said, and this was literally 5 minutes before you asked me if I was ready, I'm going to try the putty. And so I puttied that hole that you can not see anymore.
Yeah.
And I puttied that hole that you cannot see anymore.
So what do you think of the putty? What do you think?
So I hit it with the torchlight. Okay. And so I had to do the holes twice because it kind of sank into the hole a little bit.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'm going to harden it and then I'll go over it again. Real easy to texture. It didn't stick to the tool. And when I say stick to the tool, I'm going to show you the tool. Now, if you buy the putty from them, they give you this little tool. Okay, that comes with it.
I am definitely going to buy some from them. I am 100% because I want to show you what I did too.
But so the tool I used was a here it is. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, yeah, here it is. I used my little snap-on screwdriver.
Yeah.
And I just used the tip to put some texture in it because I was just doing it in a hurry. And it's just fur, so it doesn't matter. And I got to tell you, as soon as I hardened it, it was rock hard. I mean, as soon as I hit it with that,
dude,
it was rock hard.
So I'm going to cut to right here. I'm going to cut to my video right here of me doing that. So we'll come back. Here it is. All right. So it came with a little stick, a little bit of sandpaper. I have my own sand sticks that I'm going to use. I have my Next Torch UV light. Thank you to Hobby Mike of NY3D Creations for suggesting this light. It's probably the best UV flashlight you can get. Cooks that resin. So I'm not sure exactly how. Yeah, actually, okay, so it comes out pretty easy. It feels almost like a softer wax. So my goal was maybe I'm going to put it on there and kind of scrape it on and off, kind of like spackle. I'm going to start here. I'm going to put it on there and then slide this across. See if this works. I've never tried this stuff before. Maybe actually, that's working exactly how I was hoping. Maybe if it was a little softer. Uh-oh, that might be perfect. So for people that have lines on flat bases, this UV putty may be the way to go. Let me just get that line. That fills in really nice. You can't really see it on camera, so I'm going to hide this, hide that, hide anything that's UV related. And I'm going to hit it with the light. Ooh, that looks good. Probably shouldn't be looking at it. I'll look at you. Let me think. I want to try that. Huh. All right. Let's test their sandpaper. Perfect. It's exactly what I needed it to do. So you're not waiting for cure times. You cure it instantly. There's a couple spots that I need to go back. But it is a great, if you need a flat, almost like a wood putty to get it in there. Wow. I like, man. That works really well. I'm going to keep doing this. Let me get the whole base. Actually, I wanted to try one other thing. I'm just going to take this. I want to see how long it cures. I can feel it getting, dude, that's like rock hard instantly. Wow. Instantly. You saw that was like less than just a few seconds, and it's unsmushable, perfectly cured. That's great. I'm gonna order more of this stuff. That's the putty. But yeah, what you said, rock hard. You instantly, like, I was surprised how hard it got so fast.
Right.
It was done.
Yeah, so I took a chunk out and I made a little BB ball out of it.
That's what I did.
And I set it on my table and I hit it with this light and I rolled it a little bit and hit it with the light. It was rock hard.
It was like, it was like 2 seconds, not even.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I probably left it on there too long because I wanted to make sure it hardened. But it was rock hard. I couldn't squeeze it. I couldn't.
Yeah, nothing. I was surprised. I thought it would be mushy a little bit. Now, and I thought I was going to have to hit it again.
I didn't put it anywhere where I got to sand anything, so I can't.
Well, see, so that's what I did. So people just saw that video, and you haven't seen yet. So this was the base I'm working on for somebody. And when it was such a big piece and it wobbled and it got a bunch of lines in there. And so they're lines that are depressed, not raised. So there's a little, so I'm like, you know what? Let me just all I did was take the thing and scraped it over like I was spackling and spackled over it. And I hit it and it perfect. It is my new go-to. Like if I have a problem on a base that has a line in it, I'm not reprinting anymore. I'm just going to put some of that putty on there and then sand it out. And it sands beautifully. Like it wasn't extra hard, like hard to do, nothing like that. So big thumbs up on the putty. Like I really like the putty. My only drawback to the putty, I think, is if you're trying to do, like I'm working on a Godzilla over there, you can't really, like you want to be able to see your texture detail you're replacing. Like you couldn't sculpt into it because it's so translucent. I think it would be too hard to kind of detail.
Well, yeah, and,
you know what I mean?
For the little I did here, I was just kind of trying to hold it against light.
Yeah.
And say, all right, yeah, that's close enough. And you're looking at it from a distance. You can't see that hole.
No.
Okay, you can't see that hole. Okay.
Yeah, big.
So that being said, but I will tell you this: when I was shining the light inside, it is still very translucent. You can see the light coming through where I puttied it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. They also have this putty, which I've not used.
Okay.
And it's a little more like a paste.
Okay.
And it comes in like a syringe. This is like a syringe.
That might actually be better for this. I'm going to try both.
And I actually bought this with this. Jerry Frade recommended it from Just Paint It. Plug out to Jerry.
Yeah, we'll put a link down below to Jerry.
I bought this and this on Amazon. It was a combined deal. But it's expensive. It's like $25 for it's not cheap. But I like it. I
really like the putty. The resin, let's go back to the resin for a second. The other almost all the time whenever I paint miniatures, and I'll kind of be showing them as I'm talking, is if they do, you have to be very careful when taking your supports off. Because it will break like the arm off or break a finger off or break a whisker or something weird. And there are some really fine, like if you look at this guy, and I'll put it up, you're looking at it now and I'll have it closer in the video. Nothing broke when I was taking the supports off of this. It didn't pull off any of these little tiny fingers, nothing. Like everything, the supports, and I don't know if that's a me thing, like my supports were nailed. They're not me because they were pre-supported, but it came off like butter, like nothing. There was nothing. Even the big orc here, the pieces came off really well. And the Loot Studios, man, the second time now of me doing their stuff pre-supported and everything turned out fine. I went back around and did everything came off super easy. And even with, like, the only problem I noticed, and this might have been a me thing on Ina's piece on the Killer Clown, her new shorty, we'll put a link down there too, is that I got some pancaking on the base, and I think I probably just didn't have my support depth deep enough on those. But other than that, and I got some pancaking, like I had some failed supports and these little spheres around his collar. There's like little cotton balls that go on there, and those failed. And I think that might have been a me thing more than anything, not the resin. But I really I love the color of this resin. I'm so used to the dark gray I've been using. Just this shorty's face, like I cannot. Oh, it's so good. It printed so well on it.
Yeah, and see, mine, you don't have much of a difference. I mean, you can tell this is the darker one. This is the Funcrecol, and this is the Elegoo.
Okay.
But again, it's so. Here's what I would say. As you know, I'm gonna, if it's not broke, don't fix it person.
Yeah.
Okay. That being said, would I use this resin again? Yes, I would use this resin.
And it's again. How much?
Yeah. All right, so the gray is $19.99 a bottle.
Okay.
From what I can tell so far, they only have the small bottles.
Yeah. Which, that's my next criticism. So if there's anything I could suggest, bigger bottles. Because that's my favorite thing about Sunlu is I get the big jug of 3 kg, and it saves a lot of time and waste of plastic. So if they could make bigger bottles, I'd be all in. And then how much was the putty, Scott?
So the putty by itself was $24. For $4 more, you get the roughly $4 more, you get the set. And I want to compare it. The Elegoo standard gray is $2 more. It's $21.99. And the upgraded standard is $24 for the same Elegoo, which is what I use. So this is cheaper than
it is
Elegoo.
Cheaper. And they have like 4 other types of resin. I encourage everyone to go take a look. That red wax color looks really nice. There is a high precision, really expensive resin. I'd actually would like to try that. Just get a bottle and try it out and just see what the difference, compare it between the two. I'm going to go back to overhead cam for a second. I did show this. I did not show this in my initial setup. I did 2 test strips, the normal kind of test strips. I did 2, and I ended up settling on what I thought looked best. Was I started at 2.5, which was like the standard color that they wanted for all that. So, or standard exposure time for Elegoo standard gray. And I ended up settling on 2.2, and it looks fantastic. So I'm just going to put this up. This is 2.2. I have had a very hard time getting these holes to turn out any other time, but this turned out, I think, amazing at 2.2 on a Saturn 3. And you were doing them on the original Saturn, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then I did the little town tests as well. And so this town test, look at this up. This one is 2.5. This one was the 2.2. And I don't think I've ever had a town turn out this nice. Like almost all those little things came and turned out. Everything's there. It looks like it might be missing something. I'm not sure. But
and that's what I was saying about these teeth and the light supports that are on these teeth.
Yeah.
Is they were so narrow. Okay, compared to the light supports on the Elegoo resin.
Really?
So it was just, it was a noticeable difference. And they were both light. The teeth came out on both. Okay, but it's one thing I noticed is, wow, that's really just,
So I have a concern, and I don't know, maybe someone could tell me in the comments below. These test things, they're warping. I did these a week ago, and they're like, see that?
you cure them?
Yeah, I did.
Maybe you overcured them.
I don't know. They're a little. The 2.2 isn't doing it as much. I did not cure the town tests though. I didn't cure those. But I'm impressed. The fact that everything stuck, and there was one piece I didn't, which was the gun on this Ash Williams orc. Like, I'll show it on camera again. The way that they supported, they forgot to put the raft parts underneath. So it was just basically the supports touching without, you know how at the bottom of the support, there's like a cone?
Yeah.
There's a little like nub underneath those and then the cone, and it all printed. Like it's stuck. Like and there I left it on there on purpose because I was like, there's no way that's sticking to the build plate. And it totally did, and it printed. So what's your overall grade? What would you do, Scott? What do you think?
I would probably give it an A minus, and the minus really just comes from the odor.
Yeah, I agree too. A minus for me. And bigger bottles. That's the only other suggestion. I would say bigger bottles, a little bit lower smell. I'm excited. And again, I just said earlier, I just went and bought 2 bottles of my own because I want to keep testing with it because I want to get this perfect. I want to get this shorty perfect. But I'm really impressed that everything stuck supported.
This I really like.
Yeah, that putty, dude.
And it's almost like a paste. It's not like a normal putty. It's almost like a paste.
That putty is going to save me a ton of time on this. And I'm really excited. So
thank you to Funcrecol for sending us this complimentary couple bottles. And I don't know if the putty comes in every bottle you buy, but I think it probably does.
I have a feeling it does, and it's worth it. I think that's pretty cool.
And again, man, hit it with this bad boy.
We'll put a link to that torch up as well. We'll put links to the Funcrecol site over to Jerry Frade. Thank you, Funcrecol. We'll keep you posted on how it goes. Links will be down below for everything. Thanks.